Welcome to the CFG GameCast, episode number 29, a weekly podcast created by gamers and streamers alike to discuss the latest gaming topics from the previous week. We stream a new episode on the weekends, Saturdays or Sundays, and release it on podcast services like Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and Podbean. So show us some love and follow us on our cfggamecast.podbean.com to not miss an episode. I am Mr. CFG himself, Davis Green, and with me are two guests. As always, I have Smitty, the leader of the itty bitty Smitty committee. How are you doing, sir? What's going on with you?
Doing well, my friend. Obviously, I've been recovering from last week we went down for the Extra Life stream. That was freaking amazing. I'm not gonna say anything about it.
You better not. That's gonna be like the hat trick.
I'm not gonna steal his thunder this time. I've learned my lesson. But we went down there. That was awesome. Had a blast doing that. Came back here. Another busy week. Just on that grind. I decided to keep it as a chill weekend. Didn't really do much this weekend. Played some games. I'm enjoying Star Wars. Been playing Death Stranding offline and whatnot, and just kept it chill, man. It's been a great week. It's been a great week.
All right, that's great to hear, man. I know it's been really chill. Pretty much for anyone that was a part of that Extra Life was probably like, oh, we're just gonna meddle. We're just gonna be chill this week and start off with it again. Mm-hmm. All right, and we got a special guest. Flexus wasn't able to make it today because she is straight up bodying fools over at the North American Regionals fighting game tournament in Vegas. So we got a special guest to fill in for her. I got an awesome streamer that plays a lot of Overwatch, Dead by Daylight, and just a really good person to talk to. I got Lex, aka This Is Lex. How are you doing?
Hi, guys. I'm doing really good. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Hi, how are you?
Yes, doing good.
Well this weekend.
I am so glad that you're doing good, man. So anything you've been so anyone who doesn't know who This Is Lex, what is This Is Lex on Twitch? What do you do?
Well, I'm a variety streamer. I play a lot of games. I can never make up my mind. So, we play a lot of Overwatch. We have Spoopy Tuesdays, which everyone loves, where we play Spoopy game and end it with Dead by Daylight. I like indie horror, but I also like to mix in some competitive play. And every once in a while, we do some cartoon karaoke. Opie is always a co-host. Today, clearly, she has left the building. But yeah, we play a lot of games, and I am the head of the Lectuals.
The Lectuals. I like that one. That's pretty nice. We need to make something up on CFG Games this way. I like y'all's names. You got anybody Smitty community? We got the Lectuals, and we just got CFG Games. So I need to figure something out on that. But yes. but thank you as always. And just want to let y'all know, Smitty was about to steal my thunder. I just want to say we definitely did Extra Life last week. We had an insane event. I would have to say it's like I was overwhelmed on like what was happening, like what happened for the Extra Life. This is our third time doing it, and then I would have to say it's the biggest show that we've done on it. So I just want to thank everyone that was a part of that. We hit our goal. We hit $3,000 on donations for the Children's Hospital. So thank you very much on that. And I definitely we had a crazy event. I love the stuff that we did, that we were a part of. We had the fighting game tournament, the River City Girls that Flex and Mooncraft 3. So big shout outs to them on doing it. And as well, just some crazy late night streaming, as well as the special podcast episode with the awesome Chris Tang. Once again, I just can't help but thank everyone who participated in it. This makes me want to do it again. It was really awesome. It was really, really, really fun to do. So, but yeah, and it was just all around 24-hour hype stream. So just that real feeling of saying that we hit that limit was what's really cool. So thank you, and we'll definitely start looking into it again. Maybe next year. See if we can get it even bigger next year. So, anyways, let's stop the upselling. We'll get right into it. So each of us picks a new topic of discussion within video games from the previous week. The topic would or could be about a specific game or something that happened in the gaming industry. And we don't want to just talk amongst ourselves on this. We want you to also be very interactive. Who's on the CFG that's on the chat right now. So if you have something, or if you want to have something to add on the topic, or if you just have a question that you want us to answer, put it in the chat. We'll definitely take a look into it, and we will, if it's a cool thing, cool topic, we'll add it into a podcast on the episode. So definitely do that. We encourage it. So since we have our guest Lex, you have the honor of being the first topic. So what do you have to bring to the table?
Well, over the weekend, Path of Exile Con happened. If you don't know what Path of Exile is, it is an MMO, but is an action RPG. It's a lot of fun. Basically, they released Path of Exile 4.0, which has also been rebranded as Path of Exile 2. It was announced by Grinding Gear Games on November 15th at the con. If you are not familiar with the game, it is free to play. You only pay for microtransactions or to make your character look prettier, essentially. But it was released back in 2013. Again, 100% free to play. It features a skill tree for your character with 1,300 skill point nodes, multiple game types in the end content ranging from multi-phase boss fights. But the coolest part about it is they're adding an expansion. Now, with most games, when you have, like, for instance, Overwatch 1, and now there's going to be Overwatch 2, you're splitting your community up, right? With this, they're not going to be doing that. It's essentially going to coexist within Path of Exile 1. Even though it is a new mode, the expansion will have 7-act storyline set 20 years after the events of Path of 1. It's going to be available alongside it, of course. Again, also 100% free to play. It won't splinter the community, again, like most sequels do. A brand new Ascendancy. So each character they already have subclasses categorized, and every season they add new modes. So this one essentially will already have 19 brand new modes, which of course they always expand on. They completely redesigned the skill system so you can add more build diversity within your character, which is a lot of fun. Now, on top of that, they've added Path on mobile. So alongside the sequel, GGG announced it'll be bringing a modified version of Path of Exile 1 to mobile platforms next year. This will feature a shorter mode storyline, so 5 to 10 minute instance dungeon known as maps, run builds for extreme replayability and loot farming. And so Path of Exile is on its way. I'm so stoked. Wow. If you haven't played Path of Exile, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
I will say this because I've known Path of Exile. I've just and I'm being honest, I've never played it, but from what the videos I was seeing that Smitty was showing, it looks really it reminds me so much of Diablo, and I'm surprised that and I'm really surprised that I haven't even given it a fair shake on it. And you're saying this it's free to play. So I'm assuming Lex, you've played it yourself. So how story wise, how long is the game per se? Like the first part of it?
Well, it depends on the person. So my first time running through it, so every time they release a season, essentially is what they call them, you start over. So you build an absolutely new character. Everything that you'd previously done is lost. You can play on 2 modes. I know the hard mode, if you die, you lose everything. Or you can run through the storyline at a normal pace. You could finish the storyline within a few days and then continue from there. So once you finish the storyline, that's when you can really get into building your character. I personally am a sinister person, so I enjoy poison builds and things like that. And so usually that's what my character gears towards. But for instance, a lot of my friends, they do more tanky builds. And so it's just kind of up to you. But you can essentially finish Path of Exile 1 within a few days of just some grinding. My friends finish it pretty quickly. If you're new to it, it might take you about a week or so. But it's enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, and I've talked to you guys, you and Dust, about this game and whatnot, and I have heard that like it reminds me. And again, I've never played a Diablo either, but that's what it reminds me of, is that same like play style. Yeah, and I have friends that actually were trying to get me on this not too long ago too. Just they're like, hey, it's free to play, and they kind of explained a little bit to me. Yeah. I never did end up picking it up. However, again, just like even looking at those cinematics and stuff like that, I'm just like, oh man, like I was like that. Like I'm surprised I haven't played it, just because it looks like a pretty solid game. So that is exciting. I know there's a lot of people too that really they are playing that stuff. They are enjoying the content. I don't know how I feel about the starting over each season, like that kind of like I'd have to see. I'm like,
I know.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
We talked about that. So every season they introduce completely different tactics. So let's say you're into poison builds. Next season they may not release anything for that, and so I may have to completely rethink my character and how I'm going to build her. But there's people who make builds every season and their goal is to literally break the game. And it's so cool to watch them do it. If you ever watch someone stream them breaking the game, it's so amazing. And the light show, it's basically like them lighting a bunch of fireworks M80s in the game and just blowing all of the bad guys up. It's hysterical and it's so neat. And yes, it's sad that you lose your previous character, but you're always excited to build something new with what they've expanded on. And so that's what makes it new and exciting every season. This last season I didn't play because they didn't add anything for me per se. But you don't have to play every season, and that's what's great about it. So it's really fun. I enjoy it. I try not to play it too much because then I get obsessed and I don't stop. But every season is different and it's so much fun.
Okay, so the microtransactions, like you were saying, because you're saying that this was basically it's a free to play game, so it's going by a freemium service. Are the microtransactions that are in this game, is this specifically like cosmetic wise, or is it like pay to win, or is like how is that?
It is not. Right. So it's not pay to win at all. Every microtransaction that you do is cosmetic. So maybe you want see-through fairy wings with a cloak. So it's very much cosmetic just to make your person look cooler. So in this cinematic, you can see that they're dressed pretty plainly. But then you could go to the outpost and you'll see all of these beautiful creatures and you think they're part of the game when essentially they're other players. And so they pay to look beautiful. Okay. And that's cool. You can do that if you're into that. And if you're not, it's not that big of a deal because it doesn't enhance anything. Right. It just makes you look prettier in the game. Well, which is great. I like that. And
I'm fine
these
with
guys
helped
create Diablo. So it's the same guys. And that's why it looks so similar.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I mean, like, the biggest
they were part of Blizzard.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with cosmetic. Just like because the thing that really hurt Diablo 3 originally was the auction house. And when that happened, it was like that was just a matter of how much money did each who had the highest money to get the best gear to get the best game, but I will divert from that a little bit. But to Smitty's cause of like saying you're not sure about resetting your character and stuff, it sounds horrible. Like I definitely understand because I was in the same boat as you when it came to like Diablo 3 when they started doing the yearly the campaign mode or whatever they did to recycle your character, but it's actually pretty fun. It actually makes the game kind of fresh overall because like the changes that they do implement in the new season is not something that you experienced in the previous one before, and you don't feel like you're just walking through in these areas that you say that you assume that with the highest gear to go deal with it. It's like I think it's a necessity to keep the game kind of fresh for veteran players, especially like you were saying earlier, like Lex was saying about like people who wanting to break the game and the system on what they're introducing to keep that environment fun. So, but yeah, I mean, you pretty much convinced me, Lex, on wanting to try this game out on the on the PC. I looked at it, but I've never really had a chance to mess around with it.
You genuinely will not be disappointed. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. My favorite part is trying to break my minions and how much destruction I can do with just them, not even having to lift my own finger. So that's always fun for me, because you can summon essentially creatures you've just killed and then make them work for you,
Mm.
which I always have a blast with. But yeah, it makes it fresh because you're doing the same campaigns every season. And how do you make that interesting to someone who's played it 15 seasons in a row? You have to introduce new character builds. And essentially, if you don't do that, no one's going to play it anymore.
Yeah, it
And
becomes
so,
static. Yeah.
yes, it sucks, but at the same time, it's the same story. You want it to be fresh, you know?
And I think
Yeah, no, that and
You
that
definitely hit a point on that.
Mhm.
that does make sense as far as being able to keep that content fresh, especially if you're doing essentially the same campaigns. You know, it's like if you're doing the same thing, something's got to change too. And it's like, oh, but we got these
Right.
new character builds, so you're going to experience this campaign in a whole different way that you've ever experienced before, because now you've got these different tools or a different strategy that you have to go in. So that totally makes sense as far as with that. It's good to hear that the as far as with their store, the pay stuff is all cosmetic. I'm a huge, like, I can't stand like the pay to win crap, or like, oh, you get a special gun that mows everyone down, but you
Yeah.
can only get it, behind this paywall. I can't stand that stuff. So again, it's like, hey, and that's how I feel about Fortnite too. It's like, hey, if you want to go throw your real money on cosmetics, more power to you. It doesn't change anything as far as the game goes. So yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
I wish I had a photo of Shane and Sarah. Their characters are beautiful. Sarah looks like an angel, an ethereal angel. It's so pretty. And every time I see her, I go, oh, and then when it's been funny, I'm like, wait, I don't need to. I'll just stare at Sarah when I play. But yeah,
Right.
it's a great game, and I think it's fun. If you liked Diablo, this is definitely, those guys created this, and so
I really like the
really,
what's it
and
called?
everything.
I'm sorry to cut you off,
Yeah.
but I really like the fact that I did watch some of the video of Path of. Well, first of all, I didn't know that Path of Exile was big enough to have their own little convention for it, but I did like that
yeah.
they ribbed a joke to Activision about their announcement on Diablo Mobile from last year on Immortal last year from the keynote for their keynote. It was really funny because he was like, "Oh, a year ago we wouldn't be able to announce this because of that," and yeah, but it was great. No, I'm definitely going to try to check this out and download this sucker. Especially if you're with friends. Is this? I'm assuming this is a multiplayer game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and what's great is, like, let's say you're working towards something and you're essentially farming for items, right?
Mhm.
And you're looking for a certain vest and you want to connect the jewels, and that essentially then creates your character build. Well, if someone comes across it but they don't need it, they can put it in a chest, and then the team as a whole can all kind of go into it whenever they need to, or if they have an item they know someone else is looking for. And you can also trade in game with other players as well, which is pretty cool.
Oh, cool. So they don't limit you with that. Oh, that's
As
awesome.
far as like money.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's really interesting, and you can post like, "Hey, I'm selling this item in exchange for this," and someone will respond, and then bada bing, bada boom, you got your item.
Okay.
That kind of reminds me of like Elder Scrolls ESO Online, where you could do that, and like you could sell your stuff to people, in the community and stuff like that online. Which I think that's a great a system to have, and it's fun. It brings a little more depth to a game and a little more connectivity with other people. And
yeah,
whatnot.
definitely agree with that. I just pray, if they do another Elder Scrolls with 6, I just pray that they do something different, please. Just don't make it like the same system as Skyrim. But like, we'll see how it goes. But then again, though, too, I'm not a big. Well, like, I don't know what to expect with Bethesda with their janky system. So who knows?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but we'll go with that. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's thanks for the sell, Lex. The Path of Exile should definitely give you like a game key or something. It's like, oh, put the code. This is Lex. This is Lex for so much gold or some stuff. So, all right. So, all right, cool. Well, next is my topic, and if it isn't obvious, we're talking about Pokemon once again because I did it last week. Because it was speculations last week, and this week it was we were able to play it. So, it's me. I am not. I will not say I'm a hardcore Pokemon fan. I am definitely not a hardcore Pokemon fan. I just came back. The last Pokemon game that I played myself was Pokemon Red. And crazy to say, it was 20-something years ago when I played it. So I had fresh eyes of this of the story with Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I will say to myself that I like the one thing I like about Pokemon is that it allows you to just grind, and I love grinding games, especially with RPGs. So there are just so many different things that you can do to grind and make a mix of different kinds of things. And to that aspect, for me, I think this is the kind of game that I would enjoy to experiment, because there's so many different kinds of Pokemon in this game. Especially me, I naturally gravitate to the ones I know from Gen 1. But there's just so many cool things that you can actually add, that you can actually go to it to deal with it. So in that I really do enjoy it and stuff. But I think if you listen to our last podcast on episode 28, we had one of the moderators, it was Pompadour Princess, who is a hardcore Pokemon fan, was saying she wasn't going to get it because of all the bad negativity that was happening for the game, from the game, and what the expectations of it, and I understand her concerns of it. But if someone's brand new to it, I don't think that's going to be a big deal. Although I will say this, because I messaged her after I played about maybe 10 hours of the game, and I was like, I saw her point, that this game feels a little lazy on making it. And I don't know if anyone is big fans of Pokemon of it in here, but I will say that it does feel fairly lazy on how this game was made, because the biggest thing I have is you're on this is the first Pokemon, this is the first game that is on a full-fledged console, and you virtually didn't change anything. I mean, because Pompadour was talking about the effects, the attacks and stuff like that. If you're fighting against a trainer, or if you're fighting against a wild Pokemon, you now have you don't have the limitation on being on a handheld system to show some of the effects. So to say that when you're doing a simple attack, they're not showing them attacking the Pokemon, I can kind of understand where she was coming from on that. So they should have just added something different to make it kind of be its own kind of game to be on the console. Because this, for the most part, this game seems like this could easily be on the 3DS. It doesn't feel like there was a gain on getting it on the console, which I which I once again will come back to saying she was right about that. But and I don't care about the story, and I already know the whole gist of the story from the most part, which is basically you got to get the the 7 or the 6 or 7 gym badges, then get the legendary Pokemon and fight the 4 big dudes to become the quote unquote champion. It's all the same. But if you take your time, if you like the kind of RPGs where you're just wanting to randomly explore and then see what you can do with expectations and just experiment, I think this is a pretty good training ground to do it. There's another one thing I didn't like either. There's these areas in the game that was that they introduced to you really early on. So you're level maybe at max 10, maybe 12 or whatever, but then out of nowhere you got Pokemon that are freaking level 36, level 40 around you, and they're saying, oh, these things are just roaming around aimlessly. And then I was wondering, why are they putting you in a situation where there's a Pokemon that is that strong at the beginning levels of like, at the beginner levels of the area, and then they're expecting you to run away from it. I mean, like, why would you do that? Why would you set that up? That doesn't make any sense. Right. So, and then it makes it even worse because like in certain areas, in these roaming areas, like the higher you go, you get other Pokemon that's like level that can get up to like level 50, level 60 and stuff when you're only level 30 something. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish there? Most people are going to run away from that when they see when they see that kind of nonsense. So, like that, I feel that they did that so they can kind of say that there's a little bit of meaty aspects of the game itself. So yeah, so that kind of goes back to my point that I feel like this game was kind of lazily made. It just doesn't like so like for a person that plays Pokemon, a person that was so hyped on saying that was been looking forward to playing this game, I can understand people's concerns about it. But overall, I think it's a good game. I still think it's a good game. There's just these gripes because you're still playing Pokemon is the biggest thing. And like if you just like the general gist of saying that you're just wanting to fight these monsters, battle these monsters, then you're going to get exactly what you're wanting out of it. It's just a little disappointing that it's not taking the system to the next level, and especially for a first party game like Nintendo, like how Nintendo is really good on like setting up new IP, keeping their IPs and then just running with it with new ideas and things, and to say that they just basically copy pasted the formula that was on the Game Boy onto the Switch is a little disappointing because I know they can do better than that. So I mean, I just wanted to see what y'all's thoughts were about it, about Pokemon. I don't think y'all played Pokemon yet, have y'all?
I don't play it at all. The only Pokemon I played has been Pokemon Go, and I played that briefly during that summer where it got all hot. But again, that was after my time. I feel. I mean, again, though, what I've realized, again, I can't really speak on it because I've never played them. So I don't know. I know there's a huge fan base for them. I know there's a boatload of people that love it. Icy Wind, Pompadour. Just to name a few. Blue Fusion. I know some other people that have been playing it, and they've been Lucentai. They're all on it and whatnot. But yeah, it to me, it seems like, and what I've been gathering is that it's been a little underwhelming for the true fans of the franchise of that series, and it doesn't sound like they really took advantage of the going to being on a legit console. It doesn't seem like they stretched the boundaries as far as what they can do. You're absolutely correct. What it sounds like is they took the same formula that's been working and they just ported it over to a bigger console. And I think a lot of people were disappointed about that, or for, at least from what I'm gathering, because they see that, hey, this is an opportunity to give us something. Finally, you're on a console. Let's push the boundaries. Let's see what we can do. And they just kind of played it safe and said, hey, here's the same thing that you've been playing on 3DS and whatnot, but now it's on a Switch. And it sounds like people wanted more out of this game than what they delivered. Yeah. Which again, that Nintendo, I feel like, is pretty meticulous about stuff that and what they're doing. And I feel like they're how they go about things. They're usually really intentional about what they do, and I could see then how this would come off as feeling lazy to the fans and to the people that were looking forward to this. I mean, again, you're talking about something that people have been wanting for years. They're finally going to do it, and then they kind of missed a shot because they played it safe. That always sucks to hear.
Oh yeah.
So I played Pokemon on my Nintendo Game Boy Color, which I still have, and I still play Pokemon Gold. I loved Pokemon Gold. Pokemon Pinball is one of my all-time favorite games, which has no storyline to it whatsoever. But I still will go back and play Pokemon Gold when I'm in the hospital and I have nothing else to do and the TV is broken. That's kind of my go-to. For nostalgia reasons, I think it looks really cool. I agree that they could have done more to it, but here's my thoughts on that is no matter what they did, I think people would have been angry. For nostalgia reasons, I think the people who are enjoying it wouldn't have liked it if, they did X, Y, Z. I feel like at this point in 2019 game developers, I feel so sorry for them. I feel like they can never
They
win.
can't win.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't win no matter what you do. I feel like they can't win. So even if they had stepped it up and done other things, then I feel like the hardcore Pokemon fans would have been like, well, you've changed it. Now it's not the same. And we don't like it because it's so different. You know what I mean? And I feel like they can't make anyone happy. I know Seti is loving it. I don't know those gen of Pokemon. I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't have cable as a kid, so I missed out on a lot of cartoons. Pokemon, the newer generations being part of that. But he seems to be loving it. He's like, the music's great. Everything is so cool. You know
what's funny?
But again, I feel like developers can't win.
Yeah, okay, and I definitely understand. Yeah, I totally understand. I definitely agree with you to that, Lex. But at that time, but it's to a certain extent, because like the way I've always looked at it to me, because like to my eyes, because like I said, the last Pokemon I played was the first gen, and I don't know what gen this is. Is this the ninth? I don't know, but whatever gen this is. So that means like virtually everything is new to me at this in this stage point, and me saying what I'm saying on that, saying that it's lazy, you know, and there's another point there across that saying that it's lazy is me acknowledging that I'm going by the knowledge of what I played on a system that came out 20 something years ago, and then I'm playing the same game 20 years later on a system that is probably hundreds of thousands of times stronger, and then I still get that same kind of level of effect. 100%. It just seems like it's that it's a justified reason on it. Now, to say to say about feeling sorry for the developers, yeah, definitely. They are always in a lose-lose situation about nostalgia players and then and the things like that. But this one is, I think I will say, I'm grouping this a little different because now I will say, to the extent the people that were complaining about, we can't bring our old Pokemon into this one, I think y'all just need to calm down. All right, I still don't understand that that argument. It's like it's a brand new system. If you wanted to play the same get the same Pokemon, play the previous Pokemon game, especially now since this game hasn't changed much to what you're used to seeing. So like, yeah, but like as opposed to just saying give it a natural chance, that's why I kind of kept it. I kept it as open as I possibly could on this. I can understand the level of gripe on what people were worried about, and I feel that this one was just lazily done. I mean, I'm not saying that they didn't do their work on it and stuff, but when there was, because I think another point that Pompadour was bringing up was saying that they were saying that they were wanting the one of the people was saying that they were wanting to make the Switch version like focus more on graphics and stuff like that to be improved, when there's been data leaks showing that they're using the same kind of sprites that they did on the 3DS, and they barely changed that. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a catch-22 on this one. So I think that so I think on that they definitely have to admit something on saying like we made a new system on it, but we didn't. But if you're wanting to go with the full transparency, just say straight up like, here's we didn't have
it's the same game.
It's virtually the same game. And but like I'm liking it. I mean, like I'm talking a lot of negativity on it, but I am liking the game. I mean, it's exactly what I'm wanting. I'm just grinding. I'm grinding it out with different kinds of Pokemon, especially now since I don't know the roster. I mean, there's maybe like I've come across like Gen 1s, not a lot of Gen 1s, but there are some Gen 1s that I still remember. But for the most part, everything is new to me. so I'm gonna go. I don't mind exploring the world of it. So, but I think it's a good game. It's just I just think that they should have been more like
they could have upgraded.
Yeah, upgraded is the best way. Yeah, that would the best way to describe it. So
can I ask a stupid question?
Sure.
So I haven't seen a lot of gameplay of it. Are they, because when I played Pokemon, you would click what your counter was for in a battle. Mm-hmm. Are they showing the two Pokemon actually battle it out when you do that, or no?
Well, like in the video, like, oh, so what happens is that it basically shows the same kind of angle that you remember of seeing in the handheld game.
Oh.
And then in the handheld game, and then like when you say, yeah, so when you say like, okay, I think mine was like, oh, do scratch. It does the same exact effect that you see in the handheld game. You don't see them actually scratching and stuff like that. And that's the part where I can see why people will get frustrated on, because it didn't seem like they changed anything on that towards that. It's like there's no reason. Like we understand why you couldn't possibly have done it back in the day, but now there's absolutely no reason for you to be showing to not show those kind of actions, you know. So like so that's where I can understand why people will be a little bit underwhelmed about. But for the most part, but like other than that, like but it's basically Pokemon, still more Pokemon, just like Zelda is Zelda. It's like you're gonna just with different kinds of maps and stuff, just different kinds of maps for the same outcome. So, but at least they do some sort of interesting, some sort of level of, or some sort of different mechanical twist, you know, so, to kind of keep it a little bit different or a little bit fresh. But this one, they didn't even do anything. They just left it the same, essentially.
You think they did that intentionally, though? Were they intentionally, because, you know, again, I feel like especially with Nintendo, they always have kids in mind, so they didn't want to go and take it and be like, oh, it's too violent or whatever. And again, just playing that safe route of, hey, this is what's worked for us the whole time. We're just, you know, again, it's just porting over that game into the same game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're telling me that the graphics weren't really improved. They haven't. It sounds like they really didn't change anything. They took that formula and just put it into a different console.
If it was any other company, if it wasn't Nintendo, I would give them that benefit of the doubt. But like Nintendo has proven that they like changing their stuff. You know, like I mean, look at Mario. Like Mario Odyssey is a complete night and day difference to what you saw with Mario. What's it called? Galaxy, the Galaxy series, or like even like Donkey Kong, like you can't say that Fire and Ice on or Ice Blast or whatever that was on the Wii U was comparatively to something else. They pushed their limits to what they've done. Zelda is a good one. Zelda, from Skyward Sword to Breath of the Wild, now it plays more like a Witcher-like game and stuff like that. And you see Luigi in Luigi's Mansion, they basically made the character who was player 2 to have its own identity with Luigi's Mansion. Like they push their limits on their IPs, and that's why it feels so weird to say, why are you playing it safe with Pokemon? It's not like Pokemon it's a very big IP. It's an insane IP. For popularity, and I think to take the chances, especially when you put it on different kinds of platforms and stuff, and it's a big AAA title. To say that you're not, I mean, if you're not changing the battle system, why is it so hard to just to put more time into the actions to make it look nicer? I mean, that's the kind of thing I'm gonna go with it. But like, let's see. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say, Alex?
Look, can I play devil's advocate? So, now, again, I have not played this game, but from nostalgia purposes, I've seen some gameplay. I played Gold, Red, and Blue, I believe. Yeah. Could they possibly, I mean, and this could be their excuse for it, could they be trying to give that same feeling and fighting style that we had back 20 years ago to children now? And that's why they haven't changed it. I mean, again, violence, yes, everyone's saying games are too violent nowadays. And this game is geared toward kids, you know, that were our age, who are now playing this. Could they, I mean, again, there's no excuse for it. I get it. I see both sides. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I'm probably not going to play the game. Mm-hmm. And not because I don't want to, just, you know, I have to pick and choose. I only have so much time to play certain games. But I mean, could that, just playing devil's advocate again, I think they should have changed more in the game. Absolutely. And I think all of your points are completely valid. But just playing devil's advocate.
No worries about it. It's funny because you make it sound like it makes it sound like I'm negative about the game. Like I said, I can't urge you to like. I would suggest someone to go pick this game up. I like it. I definitely like it. I'm just saying that and I see Lou Santai says I haven't really been listening particularly carefully because I'm streaming the game at the moment. But I'm pretty sure porting graphics is completely not true. Not with this town design. And yeah, you're right. I mean, but I'm just saying that the feel of it doesn't feel like it's like it has its own level of identity, like how Sun and Moon, from what I'm gathering from what Pompadour was saying, how Sun and Moon was to how this is, and stuff. But back to your point, Lex, I will say this though. I think that if they were more, I don't know, it's hard to say because the moves that they did for this game specifically, especially when they were saying with the like what they were saying, we're not going to add Pokemons from the previous generations because they were wanting, because when they do a move like that, you're thinking, okay, so they're probably thinking or they're not going to be putting nowhere near the same amount of Pokemon that were in the previous generations into this one. When they do a move like that, you're thinking, I would think automatically, oh, okay, so they're making their own generation of more generational Pokemon from this series on and stuff. And then when they're saying when they're doing things like that, and then they're going to come back and they're saying, okay, we're wanting to keep the traditional style of it to be like what people will remember it. I mean, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I mean, that's perfectly fine too. I mean, and I'm not saying to change anything of their battle system or any other stuff. I'm just saying, just kind of give us some more effects on this kind of if it's on a console is all I'm saying, you know. Is what I'm going with, because the execute, I don't know about the level of execution. I'm on the fence on it with it with the level of it, but when it comes down to the straight battles and stuff, like that's the one thing that's really more important to me. It's like the battles just does seem like something that was like the old one, just with better graphics, kind of like how Pokemon Stadium was. That's exactly how it was. It's like how Stadium, you could bring your game, you put your game into the thing on the 64, and then you're basically playing a fight sequence in 64's graphics in Stadium. That's the kind. I mean, it's not as, I mean, it's more cleaned up than what I'm saying, but it's still kind of like that to me. And that's the one thing I just saying. That's just the one criticism I really have. It's just put more a little bit on on the effects, especially if you said that you're going to do that, because he said that that's what they were going to be focusing on. So, but that didn't happen, you know. So that's what I mean by it. But as much as I bashed it, get the game. I like the game. If you like RPGs, if you like to experiment, if you also like to see what to just see the world of Pokemon in that kind of view, I still think it's still a good game. It's not a terrible game at all in any means. I will still definitely would put a seal to say definitely try the game out, get the game out if you like those kind of games. So let's see. 7 is my favorite too. Oh, what? Oh, Final Fantasy. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, all right. So we got the last one, the last topic, and we're just going to go with Smitty. What do you have on the table?
Yay. So we here probably like episode 2 or 3 is when the first time we got to see Nightmare Fuel Sonic, and
Nightmare Fuel
dude,
Sonic.
I gotta say, straight up, man, that Sonic was terrifying. That Sonic was absolutely terrifying.
Do you have a picture of that one? You should do a picture of that Sonic. That would have been fun.
Hold on. Let me pull up real quick. But yeah, so clearly the internet said, oh, nay, this is not going to stand at all. This thing is creepy. It's terrifying. Nobody, you know what I mean? Like, it was just bad. It was just all out. Here we go. Here's a photo of it real quick.
Let me pull it up. Freaked me out.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. Look at this. Look at the differences here, guys. Just 1 second. Look at this. Look at the difference. Why did there we go?
Yeah.
There we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. That didn't even like. What is that? What is that? This guy, you know what I mean? Like that thing is creepy. That thing is super creepy. So yeah, that like I'm glad like the internet said no, we are not going to stand for this. Everybody complained. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Like here's the part that I think is amazing is that the studio and the people that were working on this listened to what people had to say. They listened to their fan base, which I don't feel happens.
Oh, it does not
very often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. They went back. They said, you know what? We heard what you guys said. We are going to go back and we are going to make this right. And that's exactly what they did. As far as, and this is how I feel. As far as what this goes, the changes between the two Sonics are absolutely night and day. Even within the trailer, what they did was completely different, and I loved it. You know, again, this wasn't a film that I would even typically go and see or anything like that, or maybe I'll catch it once it comes out or something like that. But the fact that they went back, they took the extra time. Look at that thing. Did you see that, dude? That was terrifying. That's terrifying. You know, the fact that they went back, they went with a truer model of what we see as Sonic the Hedgehog and whatnot. I think it's fantastic, and I think I probably will go just to say, hey, thank you for actually listening to people and what they, you know, their feedback and going back and doing something about it. I think is amazing. Not only this, but I mean, we kind of talked about the whole cancel culture thing here, you know, a few weeks back and whatnot. And I think, you know, this is one time where the internet going in and saying, no, we're not going to stand for this. You are canceled, or, you know, do something about this, or you are absolutely canceled. And they said, all right, we hear you loud and clear. They went in and they did something about it. I think they've done a fantastic job. I think they actually gained the respect of so many people. And I think there's going to be more people that go and check it out just because they went back and did this than there would have been originally. Again, nobody asked for a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Why this is the thing, I have no idea. But man, I gotta say, talking about going from rags to riches and doing something about it, and they went in and we've got a much better product than they originally came out with.
Oh yeah,
I want to know your guys' thoughts.
I can't. I mean, I'm 100% on board with what you're saying here, because like I think that this is the level. Not only like, even if you look at the background, the level of publicity of like the director listening to the community on this I would say is very monumental, because they don't usually, you don't hear that. 9 times out of 10 it's like because it's always like, you know, like for instance Bryan Singer, who did the X-Men movies, he basically was his culture was don't read any of the X-Men comics. I'm going to make my own world, because I have a specific vision for what I think what the X-Men is. And then I think that level of closed-mindedness is like what really kind of hurt it in the long run. It's like, because that's not what people are expecting. People are expecting a certain thing of an IP that's been around way longer than what either this director had his project on, or if he was even interested in. Like you would get a completely different different project, like, you know, how the X-Men was, how the Super Mario Brothers movie was originally. You know, like you wonder like, what the heck was this guy on when he decided to do it? Because it's not what you would have ever remember. Yeah, because you don't expect to remember. But to say that he actually did spend the time to just say, okay, listen, like, oh, I've been seeing what everyone's been saying about this vision of Sonic, that we're going to get back on the table so we can correct this, is saying a lot about how open he was, like, or how much he cared about what the people or the community was wanting to do, was wanting to see with Sonic. So, but like with that being said, like it's like with cancel culture is so strong and prevalent now. It's amazing on like how this one thing out of all the other things that has been said of other things got through in a positive way is the biggest thing. The most underline it, positive way to have a positive turn to make this movie better. And I totally agree that I think, like, because originally when I heard like, oh, a Sonic movie, they're making a Sonic movie, it's like I wasn't even thinking about going to a theater to see this originally. And then when I saw that preview originally, I was like, there's no way in heck I was going to go to the theater and spend my money on that. But now now from like everything, how they recut the trailer and everything, it's actually might be something that I will see. I'm not saying 100%, but it's actually a good chance that I will probably see it with some people to check it out. So yeah, no, I definitely give kudos to the group of fans. And then this also kind of shows that I feel like people who are working under this movie are also fans of this IP as well. Because this, like the new rendition of it, is so much closer to what everyone remembers, So, I mean, like, I don't know. What do you think, Lex?
So, I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan, and he hasn't been in anything in years.
Mm-hmm.
So, for somebody who I didn't really play the Sonic games, but I watched the cartoon, and that was one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
It has nostalgia. I feel like we've touched on nostalgia a lot today, but to me, this was touching my childhood. And when I saw him after seeing Detective Pikachu, I was creeped out. He had weird, straighter, square teeth than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I watched a whole YouTube piece about the people who created like Detective Pikachu and did all of the characters for that. And they were saying exactly what was wrong with the Sonic character and how it was depicted and why it comes off creepy. And they touched on a lot of points. And I don't like cancel culture, but in this one instance, it worked. And I think it worked because the people who are actually making this movie are dedicated and they care about Sonic and in his essence. Do you know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
Again, you touched upon like how the director of X-Men just kind of made it his own thing. And that hurts a lot of people who watched it from the beginning. I was a huge X-Men fan, and I was so disappointed by every single movie that came out.
Right.
And again, this wouldn't have been a movie, like you had said, that I would have waited for it to come out to go see it. Even though he was creepy, because I love Jim Carrey so much, and I was super excited to see him in this role. I think he plays a really great villain, and I think he would be fantastic in this. Now that he's not creepy, I am so happy. He does look a little monkey-like to me. I know that's weird to say. He looks like do you know what I'm talking about? There's one in the new Detective Pikachu. He looks like the blue version of him almost, and I think because of the eyes are so large and the shape of the face. I think he's adorable now. I'm super excited. I'm happy. Again, in this one instance, cancel culture worked. And again, it's only because the people making the movie cared. They could have said, F you, not done it, and run with what they had, because how much money did they spend on that movie already, creating that character, to then have to go back, pay more people to work overtime and faster than they originally did to push out something that they'd already made. It was finished.
Yeah.
You know? And to me, that shows so much dedication on everyone's part that I'm going to go see it in the theater now, because I think that's amazing. Good for them. Like, slow clap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The real thing now is going to be the
so
story.
Hard to make it work.
Yeah, the real thing now is now it's going to be all about the story of it. Is where it's going to come to, because it's like you can't. The one complaint was the graphics of the character, and now it's going to be like, okay, so let's see what this director's vision was. So it's going to be all on the director and the writers of this movie now. So I mean.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be pretty cool. Like, and that's what I think what gaming movies really needs is that level of, like, input,
dedication.
Yeah, dedication is definitely one thing, but it's also the input, because like when you get people that like, I mean, the reason why when you think of a video game movie is terrible is because it doesn't veer into what the game was about originally. Like, you could think of like how many video game movies are there where there are out there. I mean, when you think about it, like Double Dragon, if you remember that. There was like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, all these different ones. Prince of Persia is probably, I would say, The Witcher I think is going to be good, but we'll see how that goes. It's hard to say what's going to happen. Or like, just most of these movies never go with what the story was that made the character the character. So like, and I just feel like if they have people that they have to have a balance, because I know the big thing is people's visions of what they're wanting to make the movie. It's just one thing, but at the same time, you can't destroy what people are already known of what they grew up on. I mean, like for instance, like when Sonic was seen that way, people were like, just said a gigantic no. No one gave them justifications or any benefits of the doubt of saying, oh, this is going to be something that we needing to just get used to because now this is the silver screen. No, people just said this is not Sonic, and then they were like, yeah, this is going to be a problem if we're getting this kind of flack from our first trailer. So yeah, I mean, I just think that if movie stuff, or if movie studios are subjected to like that kind of level to be criticized of what's coming out or what they're making, because like in this case, this was an easier fix. I won't say an easy fix. The easier fix was the fact that they needed to change the mold of a fully CG character. But what if they decided to make a movie that was like that didn't use CG that much, and then they wanted to have a story of like let's say they decided to make a story of the Legend of Zelda, but the guy's story was like, oh, it's Zelda, it's Link who owns a pizza shop, and they needed and it's like a completely off the rails thing that's like what you Link the character to be in. It's like you need people at that aspect of like saying, oh, this isn't Link, man. Like this isn't that level of the character. Link was a hero that was trying to protect Hyrule. You need to have a story that revolves around that. That's the kind of thing that I think we would need to change towards, so we can see a true change of video game movies. No, I mean, like I said, this is a great baby step, and I just pray to God that they don't take a step backwards of what they did right about this, and people will probably come see it in droves. Especially, there's a ton of culture of game culture out there that they can make IPs on. Just people have no faith in it because they know they're going to screw it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that's rightfully so too, because I mean, like you were saying, and again too, like this is it's a weird thing, and I think you can do that to some respect. You said with Link and being pizza guy Link and this and that. I think it does work in some aspects. Take a look at, like, let's say Romeo Must Die. You took a story that everyone knows, but you presented it in a different light, in a different way, with different struggles, but essentially it was still the same story. We still got to the same end result as far as with it. Being an actor, I got to play Oedipus one time in college, and that was really difficult because Oedipus is that is a story that everyone knows. It is, you know what I mean. It's very much instilled in what you do, but at the same time, it's like I wanted to be able to make it my own without straying too far away from that character, this person that everyone knows and they identify with. Which is definitely a challenge as far as with that. But I mean, there's something different though when it comes to video games and the nostalgia that people have. Like, yeah, you can have this different story or bring them in, but I feel like to kick off a good video game story or a good video game franchise or something like that, you've got to start with a story that people know. You know what I mean? Or something that people can relate to and say, yes, this is the character that I grew up with. This is the person that I know, or the character that I know. This is a familiar story. It feels good. This is great. I've bought in, and then you can kind of start straying away a little bit and maybe start going down different paths. But you have to have that establishment of, hey guys, if I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you with this story that you guys are familiar with. You guys are familiar with these characters. When you see them on the screen, you got to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it was blah. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what it's going to be. And I feel like so many of these movies fail fail in being able to accomplish that for some reason. They always want to go to, I mean, I like to equate it to what they did to the Transformers and what Michael Bay did to the Transformers. How do you take a franchise that is about these alien robots and make it about the humans? I don't care about the humans, man.
That's how
I want the Transformers, son. The humans were sub characters within that whole universe. Yeah. Don't give me that, man. Don't make it all Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, and it's like I don't care about them.
Yeah.
I want to see the Transformer struggles and this and that. And I feel like they take these things and they try to humanize them too much. They need to, as far as with this, and this is obviously just my opinion, they need to stick a little closer, at least out the gate, to a story and what that character truly is. And like you were saying, with that, with their
Dinobots.
The thing that people are going to recognize and whatnot. So, I think this is fantastic. The internet wins. The shouts from the rooftops about, nah, we are not going to take this subpar, scuffed up Sonic. All right, you're going to give us a Sonic that we deserve.
Yeah.
And they went back and they did it. So
yeah, I mean,
it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, and then like I said, it goes back to the fact that I think that there's people that were attuned to like the IP of Sonic himself that really saved this kind of thing. I mean, it may not have been just the director; could have been a lot of different kinds of people. But like when it comes to like, they just need a team of that cares about what they're doing. I mean, it's not their original story, and I know people, and I know like directors and stuff have their own personal visions, but they need to get off the pedestal a little bit to kind of keep that level of open. It's like, hey, this isn't your story. This isn't something that's going to be that's specifically like something that you're creating and you're going to be wanting to be 100% known for. This is an established IP that a lot of people are affiliated with and still do it. Like, I mean, you could do it right, but can you honestly take your trust in saying, okay, we're going to have Hollywood take the rendition of it? I mean, like, I think to be honest with you, I think one of the best movies recently that kind of kept that had its own story that kept it true to the original IP, but it was an original story, was Hey You Pikachu, or Detective Pikachu. Because no one knew what the heck, like what to expect on that, and it was like the story was an original story that they didn't explain what Pokemon about the powers of Pokemon and stuff like that. But they gave you enough to say it's weird to see a Pikachu to be talking in an English tone and wondering, hey, that's weird. Why are you able to understand me? And then they were able to successfully guide you through what the mystery was into point A to point B, and still kept it interesting without making it feel like, wow, this is garbage. Like, I mean, they did the great job on that. So like, but like you don't. Those are the most rarest of rares to say for video game movies to go into the par. But like, you need to have a village of people or a team of people that will keep that kind of thing. Like, instead of and tell the people what you're doing is wrong. This is this is not going to go well. That kind of thing. So like, I mean, and it's funny. I think it was Doc that said something earlier about like one that I totally forgot about. Let's see. I think it was Assassin's Creed. Oh yeah, you like Assassin's Creed. Yeah, Doc Limitless said that Assassin's Creed fell a little, but it's similar to that of what we were saying, and it's like exactly like, I mean, like I know the gist of the story of Assassin's Creed, but I never watched the movie because it didn't look interesting to me. But like I saw the reviews about that a long time ago. So it's just like it's just that kind of level of interest that needs to be kept. They need to keep these people, these kind of IPs pretty close to the original material, and then if you have a good director that will be able to do it, which I will say none, because I don't trust anybody to be touching that kind of stuff, then by all means make it your own. But yeah, so is there anything you were going to say? Did I cut you off, Lex? I didn't know if I cut you off.
No, you're fine. I think the only thing I would add to it is, essentially, I feel like Hollywood is running out of ideas, and that's going to happen. Our generation isn't as big into movies as the previous generation. We don't have that big movie culture that the boomer generation had.
See, I don't know.
They're trying to make stuff that's I feel like our movie culture is a little smaller. There are people that really appreciate it, but I also feel like we're not filling the box office to the extent that they were before consistently. Like when movies come out, yes, we're showing up in droves. We're seeing it right off the bat. They're hitting records, and then we trickle out, right? But at the same time, I think if they do this movie right, they can make sequels. Tails is a huge character, my favorite out of the entire series. And I think if they do this right, they can then create a new pattern for what it could be like for video game movies if they do this correctly. And they could make a lot of sequels. And I think it's a smart idea. It already existed. All you have to do is tell the story on the big screen and make it realistic. You know what I mean? You don't have to do too much. Don't mess with the storyline too much at first. Like Smitty was saying, stick with something that everybody knows, start it off with a good origin, and then go from there. And it could be a really great series.
I don't think that Hollywood's running out of ideas, but I think it's more on the fact that Hollywood doesn't want to take risks. Nowhere near as much as
they're
what
lazy.
it used to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
they're lazy.
No, they're so lazy.
This is the formula that works.
Movies.
We're going to keep doing. That's exactly right. Everything is a remake now. Hey, it worked at one point in time, and they're just using the same formula over and over and over again. It's getting really boring.
Yes, that's exactly.
I agree.
That shoots them in the face. I mean, it's definitely showing. It's really annoying to see like all these remakes as opposed to its own original stories. Because to say that you have a city of writers that don't have their own original stories, I know it's more on the fact that they have the stories, but they don't want to put the money down to get them made because they're worried about losing that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it's a bit of there's a lot of problems with it, and that's where it comes down to. So we'll go.
You're correct. There's so many talented writers out there, and I think they've made so many should have been books. Or were books into movies, and they screwed that up, and they're tired of taking risks. And I agree. But now it's to the point where, okay, I've seen The Little Mermaid 5 different ways. You don't need to make it anymore. Believe me, she was my idol. Stop it. But, she was the only redhead I knew back in the day. But again, it's like how many times, and I loved the Beauty and the Beast remake, and I love that like my goddaughter is getting to experience these movies in a way that I enjoyed the original, but she's not going back and watching the original. Do you know what I mean? And it's to me, that's sad. Like the original was so good, and like the new one is great too, and it sends a good message. And I think, there's only so much you can do with making remakes or making something that already exists and running with it, because you can really screw it up. And then where does that go? So I don't know. I'll see it. I'm excited for it. But again, like, don't screw it up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's all where that money goes too, man. I mean, again, people are still going to be ultra critical of this, but really, it's you know what I mean. Like, I don't think that there's a lack of original ideas. I think there's a lack of original ideas being funded to be able to be produced
by the big screen.
Exactly. And it's all the money people that say, hey, I know that I am gonna get this percentage of a return of investment if I go with this, as opposed to this one that could be a hit, but it could also be a flop. You know what I mean? The ones that are original are going to be a lot more risky than say something that's tried and true and already has some sort of following. So you're at least starting out with something. You know what I mean? And then usually they end up butchering it up. Right, okay. Exactly. But here's the There's thing, already a built-in fan base. So, that one's going to be a lot less risky to go with and bankroll.
And that brings in
I'm real old now.
Yeah, well, that also brings in on the fact, like on with the comments or when Martin Scorsese was getting burned saying that he doesn't believe like the Marvel movies are real movies is because of exactly of what we're talking about. It's like it's a cookie cutter system that you're just doing, that you're throwing a bunch of money that you're going to get your highest return from because people know what that IP is, as opposed to trying to create one and then it's like, oh, they're nowhere. Then take the risk of if it's going to flop or if it's going to be successful. Like I mean, like I guess a good one would be Jordan Peele with when you saw with his original one of what's it called? I forgot the name of it. That horror movie. But anyways, his horror movie that he initially released. Get out. Thank you. And then like they gave him more money with us, and then they're going to give him even more money out. So who knows? So anyways, but anyways, we got to cut this off. We're hitting our limit right now. This was great discussions that we always have. Thank you for stopping by and watching on episode number 29. Lex, thank you for being in for us. It was great to have you on the show. Also, yeah, so you want to so what do you have planned this week on your Twitch streams?
Oh, for this week?
Yeah.
Good question.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No. Monday and Tuesday. Well, Monday I'm not quite sure yet, but Tuesday, of course, is Spoopy Tuesday. So come hang out if you like the spoopy games. Adam's got 5 days off, so we're finishing up the house and putting up Christmas decorations today and tomorrow. But yeah, we're gonna be streaming Monday through Thursday, maybe Friday. But yeah, maybe we'll play some more Monster Prom tomorrow. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's
you
a
guys
fun
got
game.
A kick out of that for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely a fun game. You know, they're making a second. They're making a second one, and
you do have it, Smitty, and we need to play it. The devs popped in and gave me the DLC key, so let's play.
That's pretty sick.
That's pretty
cool.
I know.
Awesome.
I was so excited. They're amazing. They're so sweet. But yeah, played a lot of games this week. And thanks for having me. I'm so honored.
Oh, thank you. No, the pleasure is all ours. Thank you. And Smitty, what do you have up for this week?
This week I'm probably again, I don't, I've been grinding out the Star Wars, so I'm probably gonna grind that out some more. Mm-hmm. We still have Home Sweet Home that I need to finish. I said I was going to play that game through on stream. I promise I will. We will still do that. I don't have anything major per se going on. Just looking to have a good week. Working on some videos and stuff like that too. So hopefully I'll be able to push out to the to YouTube a little bit as well. But yeah, man, just looking to probably do some back end stuff on stream and keep it chill. What do you got going on this upcoming week, man?
Well,
yeah.
This week, I mean, I'm since, like I said, because of where I'm at, it's kind of all over the place. So I don't really have a true schedule, but I will say that I want to see if I can try to finish Pokemon by the end of the week. And after that, I don't know. I'm going to be probably focused on the big move that's going to happen in December. And then after that, then I'm going to start having a more structured streaming schedule on what I normally will play. But I do also want to let you all know that since Thanksgiving is going to be coming in 2 weeks, that the plan is next week we're going to do our podcast. We're going to do the podcast for the week. Thanksgiving weekend we will not have the podcast. And the one after that, I'll talk to with you, Smitty, later on that. But yeah, so we'll have one more podcast. We're going to take a break for Thanksgiving, and then we'll come back the weekend after. So definitely stay tuned for that. The next podcast is going to be on my channel, CFG Games. So definitely, if you're wanting to not miss the episode, just give a follow on that. Thank you for being part of the discussions with us today on Smitty2447, and also check out the lovely Lex on This Is Lex. She's a really, really sweet streamer that you definitely need to check out on. So, but anyways, this is Davis signing off with Lex and Smitty. Y'all take it easy.
Bye, guys.